All right, welcome back to the podcast. Wife and I are back from a little stroll this afternoon we took. Snowed about a quarter inch or something like that last night, and then it's just kind of raining right now. This is kind of what we expect weather-wise, but it's been horrible. Rather than kind of gloomy, wet, wintry mix, it's been just violent storm.
Yeah.
And it's nice to go for a walk today. While we were walking, we were talking about how nice it's going to be this winter because we're in the house. One of the big things that we wanted to get accomplished in this first year was to get the greenhouse done, or get a greenhouse done. We weren't really sure what that was going to look like, but just finished assembling a planta greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
I think it's awesome. I'm super stoked. Seems like it's gonna hold together because it already, I think on its second night after being built, we had some 75 mile per hour plus winds maybe. So,
I shouldn't have got up. I got up at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, got out of bed just to check it out, and then looked at it and saw that it was just really ripping, but the thing was sturdy. Because I got up, got the blood flowing a little bit, just the rest of the night, I heard gusts, and I thought, oh man, this thing is going to be strewn about.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think I've already kind of filled it up in my head, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
What'd you order seed-wise?
Everything.
Well, that's we have 15 beds outside of the.
Yeah.
So what's going to go in the beds and what's going to go out?
For the greenhouse, I ordered 3 kinds of tomatoes, like a slicing tomato, a cherry tomato, and a paste tomato. And then I ordered 2 types of cucumbers and 3 types of peppers. 4 types of peppers. I'm very excited. I've never had a greenhouse before, and I've always lived like Wyoming or here where the growing season is just too short and harsh to really grow peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers. Actually, I also ordered some watermelons and some little cantaloupe melon seeds, which I also have tried to grow in Wyoming and just nothing. So I'm pretty excited. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It could be our summers don't get really hot. So we might not have enough of heat index to ripen melons, or peppers or tomatoes, but figure you don't know unless you try. So.
Yeah, we did pretty well, or you did pretty well. I didn't do a whole much of anything, but the kale seemed to be really good. That little cherry tree, we got 2 little cherry trees or 1 little cherry tree? It was very enthusiastic, and I think we got 8 or 10 while you were gone. They were just super reds. I picked them, and it was unbelievable that got them before the birds did, but that was really good. The apples, we had similar this year to last year, which maybe is okay. I'm not sure what's going on there, but
yeah, this year I think we definitely the apples didn't really get pollinated, and I don't know if that was. Yeah, I don't know. I need to take better garden notes so that I can kind of figure out stuff. But also, I mean, so the apple trees were planted 2 years ago, and then the cherry trees were planted this spring. And they say in the first year, even the second year of fruit trees, you don't necessarily want them fruiting a lot because you want them spending energy to get a good root system and that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's maybe we should have picked those cherry blossoms off. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. It's yeah,
those are super good. But and then what else is really good? Strawberries. We got those strawberries that stick in Walmart, but they took off.
Yeah.
Just the exception to the rule. So we got a lot of good strawberries there. Carrots were great. Got some clinker potatoes. What else did pretty well? The rhubarb survived.
Yeah.
We didn't get anything off it, but we brought that up here from Colorado when we moved up. My family moved up in the 80s, and then it survived the transplant from Colorado to the trailer we used to live in, and then from the trailer to our house that Mom sold this last year, 2 summers ago, and then it survived the transplant from there to here. So until it's flourishing, I'm still kind of nervous because that's that's kind of the heirloom Reminds me of Grandma and the place in Greeley, Colorado, where it came from. But so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the stuff that did really well this year was we had some lettuce that did well. I didn't plant a whole lot of it. But lettuce, kale, carrots, and beans, I think, kind of were our best crops. And then, I mean, I didn't plant a whole lot of potatoes because somebody just gave me like 2 clinker potatoes to plant. So, but those actually did really well, and I think I've saved like maybe 10 or 15, somewhere in there, to plant next year.
Nice.
And then the garlic did pretty well. I think those were kind of our big ones.
So plant-wise, that's where that went. What about the other, I guess, if we can just take the year as a plate? We looked at the garden side, salad part of the plate, and now we look at the meat side of the plate. What kind of the hunting highlights? I guess we can go fishing too, because it could be fish. So June did the trout bonanza up north. That was a lot of fun. It was cool to see the interior, hike around Denali, see some sheep. That was super cool.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't hunt anything.
No.
But
yeah, like we were fishing. So if we wanted to catch a trout and
that was
cook
fun.
it, we could have, but didn't. But
yeah, I mean, are you saying that was like your is that your favorite?
Just working,
just
kind of chronologically.
Okay.
So we'll talk about fishing before we get to the hunting part, because we ate a lot of fish this year and still eating a lot of fish this year too. And we got most of our fish in June, July. So June was we went north, a lot of fun there, and then caught some kings. Got our first king on the skiff, which was pretty sweet. It's nice to be able to troll some of these areas and since we're super nimble, we can kind of move in and out or get closer to shore than some of these trollers. When you have trollers and you have a whole bunch of rental boats and local boats that are all trolling the same drag, it's nice to be able to you're not like boxed in as much as you would be if you're in a bigger boat. We're super nimble. We can go super shallow. And we were mooching when you caught that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the trolling thing can be a little bit difficult when you are going to shore, and we were going pretty close, and so you got really really be on it. Mm-hmm. So some of those rocks can come up pretty quick, and you can snag your gears. That's one of the nice things about mooching, is that you can get all the water columns, and you can really be, we're going to hit this flat spot. It's a little hole where they're kind of circling. Let's just kind of get that in there. We can get on a little heavier weight and just kind of really manipulate it.
Yeah, and you can kind of fish spots that people who are trolling can't necessarily fish, so that's nice. Yeah,
there were a couple of times like they were trying to get into that same hole. It just they couldn't quite get there with all their gear. It was just they were just going to get up on the rocks. So that was nice to get a couple that way, and then picked up a pretty good chum year. Got some chums there. Yeah. Didn't get a whole lot of cohos, but
we hardly even fished for coho.
Yeah. We got enough king for smoked some and then jarred some, or smoked and jarred. That's not two separate things. That's one. And then got some, just filleted it and put it in the vacuum packer or vacuum sealer. So we got that in the freezer. That was good. And then halibut was starting to figure some things out, which was nice. We got
just finding new spots.
Yeah, there's some local type things or local areas that look like they might hold halibut, but it was just nice to be able to get to a bona fide halibut spot, which is tough in our 18-foot skiff. But learning the weather, we went out there once, didn't even have to anchor. You just got a really, really nice drift. The winds were variable, and so that told us that we could be able to hang there, and that was awesome. And then I went out there solo one day, and I think I caught one. Did I catch one? Or did I lose one? I think I lost one.
I thought you got chased back in by weather. I didn't even know that you dropped a line.
Yeah, well, I went another time too, because that was you and I went out there. Then you had to go back to work, and then I went out there solo. And then the next time, the wind was, the wave was supposed to be 1 to 2 footers, so it wasn't calm seas.
Yeah.
And 1 to 2 footers became 2 to 3 footers, and the wind picked up, and that chased me back, and then chased us back. So that really solidified that we can fish this spot. It's super exposed. So if there is a southeast or southwest wind, it's not happening at all, or even a north wind. So it's just got to be one of those very, very calm days. So anything more than that, and it was a little bit more than we wanted to get after.
Yeah, but, it's just we've been maybe a bit lazy with our halibut fishing. Like, we haven't anchored up really at all. We like to just kind of drift over, and so you need pretty light winds for that. I don't know if we'll ever setting the anchor and doing it is like, and dropping down your chum bag or whatever is supposed to be kind of a more reliable way, I guess, to pull in fish and catch them. But
I just don't know. I mean, we'd have to hand pull the anchor.
Right, which is why I say we've been lazy.
I don't know if it's lazy or just smart. But yeah, so it's cool to find that spot, and we got some halibut. Nothing of real big size, but definitely enough to put meat away in the freezer. So that was great, and then that took us right into hunting season, and weather was horrible. The opener for with Danny was just brutal, foggy. Had a couple chances, and you can recap that in one of the previous episodes. But it did not start as we expected. This time last year, we were vowing to shoot everything in the Alpine, but by the time August ended, we had 0 deer down. Yeah. But we did get. Was your mountain goat in August?
Yeah.
And then mine was September. Or were they both September?
I thought they were both August. Mine was like August 5th, and yours was like late August. Or maybe yours was early September.
I think mine was early September.
Okay.
But
yours was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. So that was great to get 2 mountain goat. That was a lot of fun. You can go look back at those and recap. But I'd never hiked back to camp on a mountain in the dark like that.
Yeah.
I'd only been glassing until dark and then get back to the tent. So that was the first time that we had... I had ever been involved in a hunt where there's miles to go around this rim of this ridge, and you're trying to follow the track you have before, but some of these chutes up in the Alpine there, you're looking down at your blue track on X, but you could be one chute over and it takes you down off some cliffs. And so it was nice. It was a mount that we'd been up a couple times before, so we kind of knew what to be aware of.
Yeah.
And there was just enough light from the moon so you could kind of get an idea of what was going on. And then the moon reflecting off the snow helped out too, so we could pick out some of those patches. But man, as we were working our way around it took a while, and it was kind of slick. A little bit of dew was starting to come up, but it was cool. Pretty exhausting. Got back to camp, and it was weird to get back to camp so exhausted, but then also so kind of residually amped and just not able to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your favorite hunt of this year? Was it one of those goat hunts, or was it the when we got into rut getting the big blacktail?
I think it was the rut hunt. I think the Alpine hunts to me, like, at least the ones that we got our goats on, they were so fast. Like, I felt like I was working the whole time. Like, we hiked up and we were like, oh, there's a goat way over there. So we hiked around to it, and then by the time you get to it and shoot it, and then at that point it's like, oh my gosh, we got to get this thing processed, get it back to camp. And it was just like, go, go, go. And they were both just one night hunts, right?
Yeah.
Which is like kind of crazy when you think about we're hiking in from sea level up to 3,000 feet, killing an animal, processing, turning around, hiking back down. Like, that's a lot of work. So, kind of the rut hunts were a little bit more fun, a little bit more relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was brutal when you're doing it 2 days at a time. If you have 6 or 7 days, that's way different. But even 3 days. But yeah, that quick turnaround of stuff. And sometimes it was weather. Sometimes it was just that's what we had available.
Well, and I think on both of those hunts we could have taken another day, but it was like, well, there's the goat. I mean, it's a mature billy. I'm not looking for a record setter or anything.
Yeah, not going to sort through. The rut hunts were a lot of fun. Adding in, it was cool that we kind of found our own little honey hole, which is always a cool thing when you feel like you figured out enough to put something together, and then going out there in the skiff and making it work, and camping, and having the first time we went out there when we scouted that spot, just had the tent, But the next weekend came out with the hot tent, and that was
yeah, it was awesome.
That was really cool to be able to warm up, dry out, and spend those hours, those dark hours, warm, feeding the fire. It's a constant,
and just like so much more space and like
standing up is great.
So great, except for the last time we camped there. I think we camped there so often we maybe attracted mice or something. The last night was horrible. I think a mouse ran over my head like probably 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, because we had the first time we didn't get anything. The second week we went out there, we both got bucks, and so we hung them in the same tree. So I wonder if that kind of smell maybe attracted them, got them around or something. I don't know.
I think we must have just like left some really micro crumbs, and they were like, ooh.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility too. But yeah, they're around. Yeah. So then third time we were out there, you got that really nice buck.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's still like, yeah, just so cool to spot that guy, and like he was so big.
Yeah.
And to make the shot on him too, it was a pretty far shot, and just everything was perfect. So
yeah, nice. So we got 3 bucks out of there, and there were still more bucks. Had some game cameras around there. It was a really big year for certain areas. Certain people got some really big meat years for some people. I heard a lot more stories of people on a muskeg calling in 1 buck, shooting it, and then being really quiet during the processing, and then another buck coming in. So just that, which it makes some sense. Like, I mean, if
it makes sense, like in an area where you're the only person hunting for mile. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should look around more when I process, but
so getting those bucks were awesome. We went back to that spot again and didn't have any luck. It was after a storm. It cooled down, got really quiet, got really cold. But I think running our program through there just a few too many times. I try to get off in some different areas and kind of maybe if they were anticipating where the pressure was going to come from, maybe get somewhere else. But all that habitat is so pretty similar. So they can move out of there. So still a good spot. Got the 2 game cameras up there, so we'll check those in the spring and see what's going on. But yeah, that'd be a spot worth going next year. Yeah. Maybe not 4 straight weekends, but certainly around Halloween.
But yeah, I also think the weekends when we got deer were more peak rut, and then maybe we didn't get anything. We wouldn't have gotten anything anywhere else either because it was just. Deer weren't moving as much, a little smarter,
Yeah, and that's tough when you have the week in between, when you only have the weekend to go, and a bunch of other people are going out there during the week, and the weather might be better, and you just think, man, like today is the day, but it's a Wednesday, and you can't do it, so you got to wait, 5 or 6 days in between. It's brutal. And then there was one week we couldn't go back out there because the weather was so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we ended up going to a spot that had a ton of other people. Saw that tiny little spike. I was hoping that spike would come in and something else would come in too, but it was just brutal weather-wise, super soaked. But it ended up being a great year. 2 goats, 3 bucks, and then that caribou hunt's like a whole another category itself. Just going to pack with Ryan was so much fun. Yeah. Going to the interior and just getting that really big country.
If I had the tag, that would have for sure been the best hunt of the year.
Yeah, but it's fun to be able to be on a hunt just as a packer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Super great. And then you don't. I had printed out a sheep tag and printed out a moose tag just in case, but there was no chance. You kind of get that there's so many opportunities, but then you realize just how much they don't necessarily overlap. Your moose country and your caribou country can be the same if you have the tag, but it doesn't really overlap caribou and Dall sheep. So you really got to commit to one. The territory is so stinking big. It's not. There are a couple spots in Wyoming when we were down there where it was whitetail country down in the river bottom, and then as you got out to the plains, it was mule deer. So a couple times you and I were scouting. We'd e-scouted some stuff, and we were looking, and you could see, okay, this is mule deer, this is whitetail. So based on what you wanted to hunt, maybe you could make that happen. Get to the terrain that's more effective, drive a little bit. But, up here, a lot of people talk about, well, should I pick up a tag here just in case? Well, there's not that same sort of overlapping. You could, but I think if you're out of state and you're spending a whole lot of money like that, if you can afford it, might as well.
Yeah.
But you're just not going to have the same sort of overlap necessarily.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to kind of touch on as review? Talked about the hot tent being awesome. Had fun hunting.
Yeah, it was a fun year. I mean, at this point, it's more like I'm just so I'm excited for next year. I'm excited for steelhead gardening. Figuring out where we're gonna go in the Alpine next year. Thinking about setting up game cams, about ordering more game cams, all that kind of stuff. I'm more kind of looking forward than looking back, really.
Yeah, there's always stuff to do.
But what about you? What was your favorite?
I like the uniqueness. It's super easy to get caught up in being like a blacktail specialist. Not that I'm a blacktail specialist, but focused so much on getting as many blacktails as possible and maybe tagging out getting all 4. But I only got one this year, but it's a cool 3x3. And then mountain goats. It just there's so much. It was definitely my favorite year. Last year was a great year too because we got the caribou archery, and then 2 bucks in the rut, and then small goat. It's just having the variety. I really like the variety so much more than maybe getting as many blacktails as I can. So
yeah,
that's been a lot of
and
fun.
it's also I think it was kind of I don't know. Last year I shot my first blacktail, and I also was just feeling horrible because I was having some health issues. But I was just kind of I'll just shoot anything that walks in front of me is going down. And then this year I was okay, we can do better than that. And then getting that really nice big 4x3 was I was okay, this is a lot cooler than I don't know, to me it's if we each got 4 deer, just the processing gets really oh my gosh, this is a chore. And we don't need that much meat. And so it's much more fun to kind of hold out for those special deer than, which, if it's November and I don't have any deer, anything's going down. Yeah. But
it was spaced out pretty nicely because we were really putting a hurting on your goat by the time we got my goat. And then we were eating just goat. And then we get the caribou with Ryan. So then we're just going through, we're not having chicken, we're not having steak, we're having nothing else except for that. And so it wasn't like we got $5 in 1 month and we just have so much to process and it's just overwhelming. It was pretty nice and spaced out. So nothing was really backing up. The one weekend we got the $2. That was kind of when it was at its peak, but it was fun. It was such a good experience. At that point, we'd cleared up some freezer space.
Yeah.
So it's nice to go through it too, and we're eating a lot of it rather than having 2 or 3 meals per week that are venison or that are goat. We did a lot of seasoning and flavoring, so we're having breakfast sausage and we're having the chorizo's been a real hit, but that Polish stuff is a super good change of pace with some potatoes and vegetables. That's a real good one. So it's nice to, and then it makes it worth it too when you got some interesting flavor to go with it.
Yeah, for sure.
But this year hopefully we'll get out to get some good steelhead fishing. That's the one thing that I think maybe lacked this last year.
Yeah, for sure.
So get some steelhead. But now that we didn't not having a boat and not having the house finished, it kind of made things a little bit difficult. And then the snow was pretty horrible. So this year we can make a good effort to get that.
Yeah, I really want to check out some new spots and just I miss fly fishing.
Yeah. So, well, anything else? Closing out the year, you have a New Year's resolution or a word for the year or anything like that?
No, I'll think about that and get back to you.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about New Year stuff. It's only December 17th. So.
Yeah, this is going to come out right before. We're getting both. We're heading to Tucson tomorrow, so we're getting both episodes for this Tuesday and the following Tuesday done. So, yeah, I don't know. I think keeping that creative stuff going. The writing, you and I have talked about doing some more writing stuff and reviews of bars and some film clips of those protein. I'm pretty excited for that one.
Protein bars,
the
not
protein
like
bars. Oh yeah, not
like
not
bar.
like catch a can bar crawl or anything like that. But it's kind of cool, and it's cool to see the caribou little film that I made got some good views, but also people are pretty interested in the gardening and stuff that you're doing too. So it's kind of that whole Alaska life rather than be like just a hunter. Show the other elements of it. And it's fun to write about, and it's fun to tell the whole story rather than just you know be awake, alive, and present when it's hunting season. Just kind of tell the whole story, which has been pretty fun. So a lot more of that. That's kind of what I want to do, and a lot more writing and all that. So
yeah, definitely. I think what I like most about like writing about gardening or like recipes or like any of that stuff is like you get feedback from people and they're like, oh yeah, like I've tried this or and it's really like so many people have that experience and different knowledge, and it's like the only way you get that from other people is when you share like what you're doing, and then they're like, oh like so that is a lot of fun.
Well, all right. Thanks for listening this year. Thanks for the support. Thanks for everything. Check out On Step Alaska. We got stuff in there about gardening in Alaska. We got all kinds of stuff from years and years and years of hunting and fishing and all things Alaska. So appreciate you listening, and we'll talk to you in 2024.